Welcome back. Your taxes in focus. 2020 Democratic candidates, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, vowing to repeal President Trump's Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. This is a recent AP NORC poll shows that 17% of Americans say they paid less in federal taxes compared to 2017. So 2018 paying less than 2017. Joining us now is Americans for Tax Reform President Grover Norquist. Grover, thanks so much for the time this morning. What do you make of that poll, that 17% that feels like they paid less in 2018 as compared to 2017? Because 17% is not really a ringing endorsement, is it?
It's also not accurate. It's about 70 or 80% of Americans paid significantly less in taxes. On average, it's a 25% reduction for people. That's the average. What we do have is one more April 15th between now and the next election. You saw the support for the tax cut plan grow. It was unpopular when it passed because all people had was the media telling them that it wasn't for them. Then as we got close to April 15th and people saw that the average family, average income family with 2 kids got a $2,000 tax cut.
So, Grover, let me ask you a procedural question.
Yeah.
In other words, for some people, it just was the way that the money was given back to them incrementally, right? When you go back to President Bush, for example, even though people complained that it took too long to get their checks, they got a physical check. They saw it in one amount. Would that have been a better way to just do this procedurally so people actually looked at something physical?
I think that would certainly raise the visibility of it. I do think as people look at 18, 19, and 20 and see the lower taxes, make it clearer. I think everybody can do a better job, Americans for Tax Reform and other groups, highlighting this. But it is there in black and white, a 25% on average tax cut across the board. Another example, and when the Democrats say they're going to undo the tax cut, there is now a specific number that people can look at. A single parent making $41,000 a year would pay $1,300 higher taxes, not just 1 year, but every year for the rest of his or her life if the Democrats undid the Republican tax cut. And the middle-income family with 2 kids, $2,000. So you can calculate to the dollar how much it will cost you if you vote for a Democrat for president. Somehow I think if the establishment media doesn't tell this truth, ads during the campaign might.
Grover, some of the Democratic nominees are talking about, as you said, undoing some of the tax cuts, but you can argue that they actually have been very stimulative, and that's really what it's all about, getting money back into the economy and getting that engine chugging. Now, the stock market will tell you that's actually happening. At the same time, what I don't see the Democrats addressing is saying, why don't we cut spending a little?
Because the reason they want higher taxes is to spend more money. They talk about the deficit only as an argument against reducing taxes. The deficit, as far as the Democrats are concerned, is never an argument to spend less. It's only an argument to raise taxes. What we should be focusing on is spending as a percentage of the economy, and you can bring that down either by spending less. Also, you can bring it down by growing the economy, and that's what Trump and the Republicans have done. The Democrats said when Trump won, you could never get faster growth than 1.8%, because that's all Obama had been able to do. And that was turned into 3% growth as soon as the tax cuts took effect. And when we get the trade wars sort of settled and the president gets some concessions from China, I think you'll see another boom in the economy as well.
Grover, Jonas Ferris here. I actually want to maybe have a non-political discussion about this data point. I understand that polling people as to what their taxes isn't that useful. They don't really know. We should be polling accountants if their clients are paying different taxes. My question to you, Grover, is if tax cuts do pay for themselves, shouldn't people be paying more? They shouldn't really be paying less in taxes because their wages should go up, the economy should be growing, and they actually, even with a lower tax rate, should be paying more in taxes like this poll says. So if they're not paying more in taxes like you say, and this is inaccurate, then how are they paying for themselves is the question.
Well, tax reductions, if they're done right, will give you more growth, and that actually results in the government getting more revenue over time. We've seen total revenues go up a little bit since the tax cut, and that is because, just as you're saying, millions more Americans have jobs, millions more Americans have higher pay. and therefore they're paying more in taxes. But as a percentage of their income, they're seeing lower.
So
it's lower
but the
taxes.
question I don't think is, are they paying a lower percentage? It's, are they paying more dollars in taxes one way or the other, even if the rate's lower than they were the last year? Wouldn't that have to happen for the taxes to pay for themselves?
Yeah.
It'd be a good thing, right?
It is, and it
but
would
you're saying they're paying less in taxes. You mean in dollars or in percentage terms?
In percentage terms, some in dollars. I'm giving you the dollar figure. That is, we're talking about somebody assuming you didn't get a pay raise, assuming a number of things, just static. Here's the size of your tax cut. Now, if you're earning even more money, you're much better off. And the good news is we have a dynamic economy. As the corporate income tax, when that went from 35, highest in the world, down to 21, a lot of money came from around the world to be invested in the United States. Foreign direct investment shot up, new capital expenditures increased, and we were expecting significant pay increases 3 and 4 years after the Bush tax cuts, because it takes a while to build a factory and to do things with new capital. The fact that it jumped up so quickly is a huge step forward, and we're going to see continued growth.
Real quick, are tariffs a tax increase?
Tariffs are taxes.
Okay.
Yep, we pay them. Grover, thank you.
Thanks.
Grover Norquist with us there.